Hey, and we are back, and we just finished that mock draft, the first mock draft of the season here with the Vipers and Friends. Hey, how did you like that song? I know you guys are absolutely awestruck by my singing abilities. A little Vipers and Friends, little Thomas and Friends kind of throwback there. Oh, come on, Major. I got talent. I am built for Hollywood. I am what Hollywood needs right now. I got the looks. I got the voice. I got everything. Okay, I'm just a big joke. But anyway, hey, that was fun getting that first mock draft out of the way. I got to say one thing. I should not be able to run a mock draft while participating in it and talking about it. I mean, we just seen Calvin. He came in. He kind of helped out there for a little bit while you guys took a little bit of a break there. We know Major. He's still a little bit struggling after the post-Super Bowl situation there. But, I mean, Calvin, he came in. He filled in admirably. Bailed me out a little bit. But let me tell you what. I'm going to have to look back. When we review this, when we recap this here right now, this might be the first time I actually take a look at my lineup because I really have no clue what I selected or how this is going to break down. And when I pull this up, I mean, I didn't think this through very well because my show sheet is on the same screen as what this whatever the sleeper is on. So I'm gonna have to go back and forth here because I might have a little bit of difficulty trying to decipher between one or two, unless one of you guys can pull it up on your screen and share it. But if not, hey, I'll give her a whirl here and try and pull it in front of me and all that fun stuff. But
I want to see you figure this out. I want to see what happens.
Don't want me to figure it out because I can't figure it out. I'm looking at it right now.
That's gonna be more entertaining.
I've got a small screen on this side. I got the big one in front of me, and I can't make the little one get bigger. So I might have to swap windows here. So just give me 1 second.
Sounds like
swap
you on
some windows.
Valentine's Day.
Technology.
Ooh, that's probably true. Let's be honest. But hey,
well, the internet's different in Canada, so I mean, it's just things operate a little bit differently there.
It's a little bit slower and all that other fun stuff and all that jazz. But hey, you know what? We are about to rock and roll. I think I've got it figured out for the most part. I just got to shrink everything. Nope, I think I overshrunk things. What'd I do? Oh, well.
Again,
anyway.
You on Valentine's Day.
We got all kinds of jokes there. I'm glad you woke up finally there. Major. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to pull up the screen here. Let's just share this. And this will be basically the mock draft. We had Tara participate. We had Ryan, Zach Attack, Eagle Dan, Megan, Kelvin and Hobby, Brady Martz, myself, Rhoda Heat Craig, Jorge Martin there, Jeremy Schulman, and Bob Gilchrist. They all participated here. Major, you must have been really hurting. You couldn't even get in on this one here this time.
I was actually like sleep, and then I woke up to your message. I'm like, no, and I was already done at that point. I was still trying to recover. I wish I would. I wanted to be in it so bad. You guys let Tara just manhandle you guys. I can't allow that to happen on my watch.
Well, we're going to keep those comments from the peanut gallery to a minimum here as we go through this here. So first off, hey, let's talk about this first round, how it broke down, because there's some things in here that kind of teach us a lot. First off, Tara went anchor running back, got the big dog right off the get-go, Jonathan Taylor. And then we see Jamar Chase come off at 2, Christian McCaffrey, Jefferson, Burrow, Pitts, Harris, Adams, Lamb, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara. That's kind of how that first round broke down for us as we're looking at. Now, when we look at this here as a whole, and we'll go through each and every roster here somewhat, did this, Tara, play out the way that you kind of expected, especially since you had the 101? Did everything fall into place how you kind of were hoping? Was there anything surprised? What are your thoughts on the draft?
I mean, it fell into place pretty good for me. I like my team. I was a little bit surprised. Those darling rookie quarterbacks from 2021, I guess, because, we're transitioning over to 2022. Justin Fields and Trey Lance. I was a little bit surprised. They were a little bit further back. Those were guys that people were reaching for in startups last year. And I feel like, maybe I should have gone back and compared, but I was just surprised they didn't go a little bit higher than that. So that was interesting to see the faith that we've got. Obviously, this is so much higher in those Josh Allens and Herberts and Mahomes and whatnot. And then the running backs were a little interesting. I don't think it was majorly off from my opinion of how running backs flow, but it was just very interesting to see the value on some of these guys, like a David Montgomery, a Josh Jacobs, Elijah Mitchell. We'll dive into, these as we move forward. But it was kind of interesting how the running back shaped out as well.
Yeah, I'm an old dinosaur when it comes to drafting. I'm usually heavy running back, and that's kind of the way I like to build my rosters. Even in Dynasty, I kind of talk about that a little bit there with Calvin. I'm like, I want to draft. My thought process is I like to draft running backs and trade for wide receivers. That's kind of my thought process when I go through this. When I do a Dynasty startup, I was like, okay, you know what? Typically, I like to go running back, and I'm looking at this first few rounds. And I was expecting the running backs to kind of go a little bit higher and the wide receivers get kind of pushed down just a hair. But I'm looking at this and it was wide receiver. I know it was PPR. I know it was a 1 QB league. So the Joe Burrow there coming off there for Megan off the get-go, kind of a little bit of a shocker there. If this was a super flex, I think 105 is a perfect spot for Joe Burrow. But I'll tell you what, again, 30-second clock to make these picks. I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to navigate through this draft. This is the first time I'm looking at my team here, and I don't love it, but I don't necessarily hate it either. I think I reached at that quarterback. We'll talk about that here probably a little bit more. I think that quarterback sweet spot is in that round 8, round 9. There's some good value to be had a little bit later. Build those lineups, but I know when I did the Patrick Mahomes thing, there was no one I was really intrigued by right there. I mean, Michael Pittman, maybe. I'm looking through here. I'm like, the best value for me probably was Patrick Mahomes. Maybe I could have done Darnell Mooney or Allen Robinson, depending on, but the Allen Robinson situation, we don't know how it's going to shape out. And that kind of put me off on him. A lot of these players right now, we don't know where they're going to end up. And there's a lot of question marks, more questions than answers about landing spots for a lot of these players, which made it a little bit more difficult. Now, Major, when you look at this board here right now, what are your initial thoughts other than Tera killing it again?
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Christian McCaffrey went 1-3. When are we gonna get off of this guy? I mean, I don't think he's trash, but 1-3 for someone who hasn't played a full season in forever is kind of hard for a hard sell for me. But again, yeah, what Tara said about the running backs, I'm a dinosaur too. I like to go running back early. And we got a tight end up here. We got receivers everywhere. You can see the change in the NFL and the fantasy, the way we draft these things now.
Yeah, I actually like Calvin grabbing Pitts there at 106. I don't mind that based on the value-based drafting that we're seeing, especially in PPR. Travis Kelce has made a living of this, being the tight end 1 and being realistically, when you put his numbers up against the wide receiver position, he's been a top 3 wide receiver as a tight end. Now, Major, my question for you as the running back guru from the College of the Canyons.
Yep.
What is your initial thought looking at Tara's roster where she tapped Cam Akers at 212 after watching his playoff run? Are you concerned about this playoff run? Are you still a Akers truther when it's all said and done?
I'm super high on Akers. Was it our Shaw predicted him to be like the top 2-3 running back in one of our recent shows or latest shows. But with Taylor and Akers, like to me, you have 2 top 3, possibly, top 5, possibly top 3 running backs in the league with yardage and everything at the end. And then she just stacked it with receivers. But the running backs to me seem like they didn't really go as high as expected. I do like your running backs. I do like you went after Williams. And then you got Spiller. I think he's going to be one of those guys. It really depends on where he goes, but the guy has a ton of talent. Yeah, and you got Robinson down there in the 12th round. That's a great grab.
That's low key. He's coming off the Achilles. He's gonna be out for a while. That draft pick, I wouldn't say is for 2022. I mean, we're talking about a dynasty startup here. So I think James Robinson is probably going to be realistically better in 2023, even though it's not potentially in Duval County, right? So that's kind of what I'm going here. So Tara, he's still young. That's it. This will be his 3rd year that he's going into, right? So, I mean, Tara, outside of your team, what's that one roster when you're looking across this board right now that you're like, yeah, they done it right?
So I really like, and I've now realized that my computer screen for some reason is not showing the team that I like. So I'm going to turn maybe to the left a little bit over here to where my other one is. But I really like Jeremy's team. Yeah, that's the one that I can't see. Jeremy's team. So if you guys are looking at Rebel FF there on the end, I really like what he did in terms of those running backs. I mean, I play PPR almost exclusively. I prefer to tilt towards those PPR backs. And when you're looking at DeAndre Swift and Austin Eckler, I mean, you've got two guys that if everything goes the right way for them in terms of how they should be utilized next year, are going to be putting up ridiculous points for you. So I mean, when you can start off and have those two guys heading out every single week, that's just kind of crazy. And then I like that he went young at wide receiver there. I don't mind it. I don't mind that direction, especially when you anchor it with a guy like Brandon Cooks, who, he's still got some juice with him. We always forget that he's that guy that you forget about, but he can still be a wide receiver one. So to anchor that is a little stability while your young guys right there, your young wide receivers that he's got are still kind of working things out. Darnell Mooney was a fantastic grab. Love that one. And then we've got Pat Freiermuth, which I thought, oh God, I was very hurt that I couldn't get Pat Freiermuth. Trey Lance. I mean, I really well-rounded team. And then I also actually really like Craig's team. I would not have taken CeeDee Lamb right there, but I don't think it really matters when you turned around and then got what was it? Debo and what was the other one? Debo and T. Higgins. So you're sitting there bringing out CeeDee Lamb, Debo, T. Higgins. I mean, right off the bat, you've got just a ridiculous, fantastic young trio there that's going to bring you heavy value for years to come. So I really like that. And then I'm higher on Elijah Mitchell than most people. So I thought that was a good one to go with when you're taking your first running back there late in the fifth. Excellent option.
Yeah, just to kind of give a quick recap here on Jeremy's team. DeAndre Swift in the first, Austin Eckler in the second. Then he went rookie here with Garrett Wilson of Ohio State and then Breece Hall of Iowa State, followed by Michael Carter, who did some good things down the backstretch here. Then, like Tara mentioned, a couple of young receivers here, Darnell Mooney and Jameson Williams there from Alabama, with Brandon Cooks in between the two. I'm a little bit of a veteran wide receiver that can get the job done. Pat Freiermuth. Then Trey Lance. This may be this one weakness that he has right now because we don't know what Trey Lance is going to give us next year. It could be good. It could be bad. That's kind of where I'm kind of standing with him right now. I know Major
take his team to the Super Bowl. Like, come on, what do you mean?
Yeah, I know, but you're a running back whisperer. You're not a quarterback guru. Ronald Jones and then Donovan Peoples-Jones is the way he rounded that draft out. Heading over to Roto Heat Craig, he may have had the best three-person start of all. You mentioned CeeDee Lamb. You mentioned Deebo Samuel. Then you got T. Higgins. TJ Hawkinson is okay. Elijah Mitchell, I do have a little bit of worry about. Is Trey Sermon going to factor in? Are they going to do something with Raheem Mostert? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? We don't know what San Francisco is going to do. It seemed like Shanahan was committed to Elijah Mitchell. For the first time ever, he's able to put a ring on a running back. So we'll see how that shapes out. I love myself some Allen Robinson. I'm not ready to quit him. Then he followed that up with Kareem Hunt, Michael Gallup, James Cook, who some people think is very similar to Dalvin Cook, his older brother. I don't see it, but hey, it's not mine. And then I really like the low-key quarterback combination here of Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts. I mean, you've got yourself – you know how I feel about Jalen Hurts. I think he's a top 12 quarterback in fantasy. I think he's a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And then you also have Justin Fields, who gives you some high upside, followed by Kenyon Drake to round out his team. Now, Major, you're looking across this, and I know you already got eyes for Tara here in that lineup. What sets her lineup apart from everyone else's?
I mean, I can just run it down. One, she has a number one running back. She has another running back, like I said, can be top 5, possible 3. You got Waddle, which is like one of my favorite receivers in the whole thing. You got Keenan Allen. You got Hopkins. You got Hollywood Brown. You got Tyler Lockett. Like and then she gets Lamar Jackson at 9-1 to like round that off. You know what I mean? So she has like a monster squad. The tight end, I really don't like that guy too much.
I didn't like it either.
Yeah, but other than that, like she hit it out the park. Another one I gotta show a little love to. I like the way Bob kind of started. Bob Gilchrist. He started with Kamara, Dalvin Cook, and Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon's gonna have a bounce back year, hopefully. And he has Andrews on there as well. And then he went young. All his receivers are like rookies. He went Chris Olave. Oh, he also got Ezekiel Elliott. He got David Bell, who I'm really high on as well. Dotson, and he got your boy Myers. I think he did that just to like make you mad. And then, I gotta show love to my boy Calvin. Calvin, he's just steady, nothing fancy, nothing like over the top, just a solid team. He went with Cal Pitts, and then he has AJ Brown, Johnson. Who else is here?
Devonta Smith.
Yeah, and I like Etienne and Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs kind of showed that towards the end of the season, he started performing a little bit better. And I think Etienne has one of those like potential to be a comeback player of the year type of thing. That guy is too fast for this league. Claypool might. I know we all like to clown Claypool, but he may, and I say may, depending on who the quarterback is. He could have one of those seasons, and then he has Deshaun Watson and Derek Carr, and I think Deshaun's going to be back next year. He's going to perform wherever he's at, but then he has like the nice one to fall back on with Carr, and then just to cap it all off, he got the man, the myth, the legend, Ramondre Stevenson. You'll win any draft.
Well, now that Major basically took Calvin off the table for me here, as I was going to talk about Calvin's team on the show sheet that's right on his screen right now. He's probably looking at.
You could just continue to talk about mine again. I mean,
no, I'm done talking about that. But you know what?
Sorry. You could probably give a better. You're better at breaking it down than I am. So go ahead, man.
Looking at Tera's here, I love. First off, Lamar Jackson's an absolute steal in the 9th round. I love. You're not going to do nothing different than Jonathan Taylor at the 101. It's pretty simple pick there. And then Jalen Waddle, Keenan Allen. He's not old. He's still good. I mean, 4th round, absolute value. I'm not as big on Hopkins as some people. Like Major still loves Hopkins. I'm not 100% sold on him going in next year, especially the way Kyler Murray kind of fizzled towards the end. But Marquise Hollywood Brown.
You ready to debate?
Well, hey, you know what? He might not even be here next year. He might be too busy gaming right now. Like he just talked. There's that.
Come on.
Yeah,
that I was like, come on, guys. I mean, tired to be a gamer. Like, come on.
He can only play like 9 games a season anyway before he gets hurt. So
he gets hurt, and then he can become a gamer as he recover.
But I want to focus back on the Calvin's team here. I'm going to break it down a little bit more for you. Deonte Johnson in the 3rd round, still a PPR guy. It doesn't matter who he has at quarterback. In fact, Ben Roethlisberger and his noodle arm probably helped him more than anything last year because having a quarterback that can't throw more than 5 yards down the field really helps Deonte Johnson in PPR. AJ Brown, hey, I've got him as my number 4, I think, Dynasty wide receiver. Getting him there, great value. Kyle Pitts, value-based drafting, says this was absolutely the right selection. So we're looking at PPR, and he's got himself 3 solid PPR targets off the get-go. I'm not big on Travis Etienne, but Josh Jacobs in the 6th round. I mean, we're talking about a guy that you want to talk about clowning a guy? We clown Josh Jacobs every year as RB24. Look around. Look at every Dynasty league right now. Look at every redraft. They're going to have Josh Jacobs somewhere between RB20 and RB24. Now, go back and look at the last couple seasons. Where does Josh Jacobs finish? RB8, RB12. He's going to be flirting with RB1 status, and we continue to dog the guy each and every year. Hey, Tara, we talked about this before. The best ability is your availability. And when it's all said and done, especially at the running back position, you don't have to be good to find yourself as a top 12 running back. You just have to find yourself on the field, right? Look at these guys. Every running back in the top 12, with the exception of maybe Derrick Henry, the reason they're in the top 12 is because they were able to get some volume. Now, I'm kind of chuckling here looking at my team for the first time. Devontae Adams, Javonte Williams, Terry McLaurin, Isaiah Spiller, Patrick Mahomes, a little bit early for a quarterback, in my opinion. And then Amari Cooper, Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, Dallas Goedert, Odell Beckham Jr., and Trey Sermon, James Robinson. I don't hate it as much as I thought I was going to hate it because, hey, I didn't know what I was selecting half the time because I was too busy talking about every other team. So there's some players on other teams I actually legitimately thought were on my roster. Let's be honest here. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things out there. Now, Tara, when we continue to look at this here, when you look up this board up and down, and Major, I'm going to kind of buy yourself some time here as well. where is that best value to be found here? What's the best bang for your buck that you can see in a 1 QB PPR Dynasty startup draft?
Before I do the value, I will give you credit. Dallas, so the reason that I picked Gesicki, which I would not have done under any circumstances, but I did want to get a tight end on the board for this purpose of these 12 rounds right here, was because you took Dallas Goedert. And then Jeremy took Pat Freiermuth, and you guys left me with nothing. So excellent picks there from you guys. But yeah, best value picks. I'll do super quick. I'll do the one that you just talked about, Josh Jacobs, again, for the exact same reasoning. The disrespect on Josh Jacobs is just ridiculous. He's incredibly young. He is the running back I almost said Oakland, in Vegas. He is the running back. It's unquestioned. He is now getting PPR. I mean, just come on, guys. Like, please give him a little bit more respect. But other than that, Devin Singletary at the 9.7, I thought was a really, really fantastic value. I know we're skeptical because we just haven't seen consistency from the running back position in Buffalo. But in my opinion, they just looked like a better team once they committed to Devin Singletary and once they, acknowledged that they do have to run the ball to be a complete team. He looks decisively better than Zach Moss. I don't think Matt Breida will be a factor at all moving forward. In my opinion, I do think that it's worth the value right there by far to have Devin Singletary when you're able to be in the 9th round and get somebody who is the RB1 on their team. So I love that pick right there. And then I love the value on Darnell Mooney. In my opinion, it, not because it was an inappropriate spot for him, but I think it's a bold pick right there because I do think that he is the future wide receiver 1 in Chicago, and you have to get your guy. So I think that was a good spot to be able to take him.
Yeah, you're not going to have any argument for me when it comes to those guys. Those are guys I all like as well. You know my feelings about Darnell Mooney. He's one of my guys kind of thing. I'm going to support that each every time. We're lockstep here with Josh Jacobs. Major, where's that best value for you?
I'm going to go with another Raider. I'm going Hunter Renfrow. Like, he gave you 100 receptions with so much stuff going on with that team. You got coaches getting fired, teammates going to jail, just all kind of stuff going on there, but still found a way to, squeak out 100 receptions. We all know this is a copycat league, and we've seen the success of Cooper Kupp. I think he can be in that same mode, coming out the slot. Derek Carr seemed like he has a little more confidence this year for some reason. But yeah, Megan picked him up at 7.5. There was a lot of receivers taken ahead of him. That's the one for me. I think he could have went in the top 4 rounds or 5, actually,
Yeah, that one hurt because I really wanted him, and I actually kind of forgot he was on the board with a lot of my selections because, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of time to go through what was going between 30 seconds and talking. By the time I actually got to my pick, there was about 8 seconds left on each pick, and it was basically taking one of the top players that was kind of queued up already based on Sleeper's ADP. And I agree with you. Hunter Renfrow right there, that is an absolute value for me. You're talking about a wide receiver that especially in PPR, whether Waller's there, whether they go out and grab themselves another wide receiver is going to have value next season. And it's pretty evident. Now, Hunter Renfrow was on my list. Josh Jacobs was on my list, but I'll give you 2 more that were kind of on my list. At 9-12, you guys know how I feel. We talked about Darnell Mooney being one of my guys. Another one of my guys is Jacoby Myers. And I get it. Josh McDaniels is gone. But hey, Jacoby Myers is 25 years old. He led his team in targets, receptions, receiving yards, and he's done this consecutively. Yet we're still undervaluing him. He's still going in most ADPs, most drafts, not necessarily this one, behind Van Jefferson, behind Tyler Boyd. Those touchdowns are going to come. They will happen eventually. Mac Jones, it's going to build that chemistry moving forward. I think the Patriots do address the wide receiver position somehow, some way, whether the draft or through free agency. There's going to be another guy out there as well. But hey, he's had more receptions in 2021 than Van Jefferson has had his entire career so far. So I love Jacoby Myers there at 9-12. Maybe a little bit of shade thrown at Van Jefferson, but hey, congratulations on the baby. And then the other one for me right now is J.K. Dobbins at 304. Eagle Dan. I love this. I went on Twitter earlier today and I basically said, is it bold to put J.K. Dobbins as the RB5 for 2022? I mean, I get it. I know why you wouldn't. Guys coming off that ACL injury, they're usually a year away from being their explosive self and all this other stuff. Look at Saquon Barkley and what's kind of gone on. I think he's going to be good to go this year. But hey, you know what? J.K. Dobbins is effective in the touches he gets. Everyone's going to say he's going to be limited. He's not going to get the targets. He's not going to get the touches. Lamar Jackson's going to steal some runs from him. Yeah, they were doing that before. And if you look at from weeks 11 to 17 and the numbers they put up, he was averaging 16.95 fantasy points from weeks 11 to 17 back in 2020. Yes, he suffered that ACL injury, but that happened in like June. He'll have over a full season, a full year to recover when he comes back here in 2022. So I absolutely love J.K. Dobbins there at 304. I think that's an absolute steal, especially at the running back position, especially if you went Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and in the third round, you're getting your RB1 in J.K. Dobbins. I'm okay with that, especially in a dynasty situation. Now, of course, when there's values, there's someone who's always reached. There's always that guy you're like, oh, dude, what are you doing? How could you possibly go out there and grab that? And Tara, who's that guy you're like, I don't know, bud. You might have messed that one up.
This is purely because it's one QB, and I don't think it's really necessary to do that. Malik Willis at the 10:09, I don't think was a really necessary pick right there. Particularly when you already have Justin Herbert, so you've got a young, the high firepower quarterback who is obviously going to be highly dependable for years to come. And in one QB, it's just a little bit harder. Like if Willis, how are you going to fleece somebody into taking Willis off of your hands if he does pop off and you want to try and get some value out of him in one QB? It's not super necessary. I just think there was other value on the board right there. Then you don't have to reach in one QB. You could reach in Superflex. That makes sense. I do believe that he'll be good eventually, but you're not getting the value right now.
And then Major, over to you here. When you look at this board again, who's that player you're like, ooh, man, that might have been a little bit too early? And then exclude Calvin's pick here of Rondell Moore at 906, because Calvin, I don't think he intentionally picked Rondell Moore there. His timer literally expired, and that's kind of who he got stuck with. So I'll give Calvin a little bit of a break on that selection. Major, who's that guy?
I'm going. I spoke about it earlier. I'm going McCaffrey. Like I'm, especially in a startup dynasty. I have Taylor, Harris, Akers, Gibson, Williams, Chubb. I have them all ranked higher than him. So grabbing him at 1-3 was a little high. And then my girl Megan, come on, man, you one of my clubhouse people. You know better than this. She went quarterback in the first round, in a non-super flex. She went Joe Burrow. Like if you're gonna go that high, you got to go with like what Tara says. You got to go to quarterback who has the option ability to run, because he said Joe can't run. So you know how that goes. But
I say he can't run. He can't run.
What you say? What you say?
He's not a running quarterback. That doesn't mean he's immobile.
That's what you made it sound like. You try to like whatever. We'll talk about that in another show. But yeah, those are the two that really stood out to me. That first round was those, McCaffrey. I'm kind of off of him until I can see him, give me a whole season worth of work,
Well, I'm not going to single anyone out like Major does here, but I'm going to go off and go, hey, Zach Attack, hey, Eagle Dan, hey, Megan, hey, I'm going to call myself out here. Anyone who took a quarterback before round 8. I feel that was a reach by each and every one of us. And I'll say it. I think reaching for a quarterback it's going to hurt you in these dynasty startups. Yeah, okay, go get your guy. If you want to make sure you're solidified with that position. But look, Dak Prescott, 1107. You want a young quarterback, 1107. Lamar Jackson, 901. These are quarterbacks going much later that are going to give you the same value, if not better value, than what we had selected in the 6th, 5th, and 1st round. So I'm going to call out myself as well as 3 of our Vipers and Friends mates here when we're looking at this board. Do not draft a quarterback before the 8th round in a dynasty startup, because especially one QB. Now, this completely changes in Superflex, right? Superflex, you're probably going quarterback in the first 2 rounds, or grabbing 2 quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds. Hang on, I got to sneeze. Nope, we're good. Anyway, and the other one for me is when I was talking to Calvin when this draft was breaking down, I looked at this guy very closely for my own selection, but ultimately decided the risk reward right now is too high. If we're doing a dynasty startup in say August, this may change. July, this may change. It's Calvin Ridley at 310. Now, when Calvin Ridley, Major, we talked about this even when we did our dynasty rankings, the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
If Calvin Ridley is 100% committed to playing next season, and we know where he's going to play, Calvin Ridley is a top 5 dynasty wide receiver asset. But we don't know. That's the problem. So I sat there and I contemplated at 308, Terry McLaurin, T. Higgins, and Calvin Ridley. I really wanted to grab Calvin Ridley, but there was so much unknown about his situation. I felt it was a lot better to go with Terry McLaurin or T. Higgins here for Dynasty. And I've got them both ranked ahead of Calvin Ridley because of that unknown. So for me, Jorge there, he's got himself a great wide receiver and possibly a steal when opening day runs around if Calvin Ridley is there. Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, George Kittle, Joe Mixon. That's a pretty good 4-round start there.
What round do you think he could have went or should have went?
I mean, would you rather right now DeAndre Hopkins or Calvin Ridley in Dynasty?
For Dynasty, I would go Ridley there. Ugh, that hurt a little bit. Yeah.
See, and I think that's kind of where we're talking about for Calvin Ridley. Right now, at this moment, I think Calvin Ridley is best suited in the 5th round. And that's the risk I'm willing to take right now. I'm not quite comfortable going any higher. I think the 5th round, I feel comfortable because I've probably by the 5th round in a dynasty startup, I've probably got 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers already there and really falls into that wide receiver 3 role for me. Even if maybe the 4th round, like if you look at my draft, Devontae Adams, Javonte Williams, Terry McLaurin, maybe I think about going Calvin Ridley as my wide receiver 3, and then maybe instead of picking Mahomes there in the 5th, I come get Jacobs in the 5th, and I feel a little bit better about my lineup that way. But for me, Calvin Ridley is a wide receiver 3 right now. That's where I feel comfortable drafting him. That's how I feel about him right now, but he's going to give you wide receiver 1 production if he is in your lineup, if he is there day 1.
Yeah. And there's still some guys on, like I'm looking at Mike Evans as someone who went behind him too, where, that's another guy where you're sitting there and I feel more comfortable with the known of Mike Evans and exactly what he can give me, even with regardless, you say, oh, well, Tom Brady's going. It's never really been a factor for Mike Evans. He's caught a ball from literally anyone and everyone. So, I mean, there were a lot of guys on there just a little bit more dependable. Yeah, I agree.
He's an interesting one because we looked at this. The guys after him: Devonta Smith, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Nuke Hopkins is there. And then you go a little bit deeper: Hunter Renfrow, Amari Cooper. You know what? All these guys, I probably would take over Calvin Ridley at this moment.
At this point, yeah.
Now, this could easily change as we move forward. That's why we're going to continue doing multiple mock drafts all off season here to make sure that you're ready. You look at these mock drafts and you get a good feeling going into your drafts later this summer, ahead of the season, so you're best prepared. Hey, if you want to make sure you're prepared, head over to fantasypoints.com right now. Enter promo code Vipers22 and get 10% off that subscription right now. Hey, when you get mock, they got projections, they got articles, everything you could possibly need is there. A one-stop shop for all your fantasy football needs. Make sure to head over to fantasypoints.com. And hey, before we head out, Tara, let the people know where to find you. Major, let the people know where they can find you. And let's get on and moving on.
I'll be quick. You can just find me on Twitter. It's Tara Time, everything through there.
Yeah, you can find me on Tara's Twitter as well. Just find me over there. Thanks.
You know what? You can, Tara, you're gonna have to start.
He's not lying. He's always tagging me in these debates. Man.
Well, it's probably because he's not comfortable in his own predictions here right now. He's got to get what Tara's going on there because he knows what time it is. It's Tara time each and every week. You want all the best answers? You head over there. Hey, Fantasy Pros, Awesome, Fantasy Alarm, TikTok, Tic Tac, Face Snap, whatever it's at, Tara's there. Major, hey, when he's going to pop a couple more Tylenol, a couple more Advil, mix it all together. He's going to get over this Super Bowl hangover, man. I can't wait to see this project coming out here when this comes out, you're going to have to drop that, let us know, promote it, so we can all see what you had done during the Super Bowl with Copeland there, because I think that's going to be a fantastic project. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming out of that next. And hey, make sure, please, hit the thumbs up here on the video. Look at this. Can you turn this down? No, you can't. Hit the thumbs up. Hit that subscription button. We're closing in on 500 on YouTube, on our way to 1,000. That's the goal right now, because I'm superficial and 1K sounds beautiful. Right? Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. You head over to anchor.com or wherever the podcasting is. You'll find us on Apple, Stitcher, anything else that does a podcasting platform. We are there to hear us on multiple platforms each and every week. So take a look at that. And hey, we are coming back to you a little bit later. And as always, keep an eye on what we're doing here on the content here on the Vipers Network. There's going to be Dynasty mustaches. No more primetime previews because the 2021 season has come to a conclusion. But we got all kinds of nits and knacks coming your way. Till then, we'll see you next time.